Go ahead.
All right. Welcome to Mindset Monday, y'all. I'm Keeley Winfield. I am your Client Success Director and Head Coach here at Align and Design Your Life. And this is Katie. Katie, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
I'm Katie. In the group, it's Caitlin, because that's my name, but I am the community specialist here. And my name is Katie.
All right. So today we're going to talk about a little bit, just go into what happens when you really break through. And basically, Katie and I did a breakthrough session that I facilitated this breakthrough session with her. And breakthrough sessions are a 4 to 6 hour session where we dive really, really deep into one area of life. And Katie and I did this a month ago now.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I'm super excited to share just how much we talked about, we went through, and where she's at now. And of course, if any of you have any questions while we're going through this, drop it in the comments and I'll be happy to get those answered. All right, where to start?
Give a little more on what the breakthrough session is before we dive in too much.
Okay, so say what?
Like the general purpose of one.
Yeah, so the general purpose of a breakthrough session is to really dive deep into getting really clear on where the beliefs that are standing in our way have come from and where those stuck emotions are in our story, in our past, in our body. And then releasing that to be able to get to the other side, to be able to get to the lesson in the journey that we've gone on. Katie, I'm going to let you say a little bit about what we talked about in your breakthrough while I talked to my 5-year-old for a second.
Yay! Well, Mom. So for me, it was more of a starting point on my journey to mental, or whatever this is, to like finding more about myself and who I am and why I do the things that I do. Like, why do I have these thoughts of limiting beliefs that we'll go into in a little bit on holding myself back, and why do I self-sabotage, and why am I always doing the things that I've been doing for so long and not seeing change in my life? And so I was really wanting that clarity on why am I so like self-sabotaging and down on myself and poor confidence and all those things. And so Q was able to like walk me through where these limiting beliefs really started and what created them and why. And when they were created, it was like like a survival tactic for my brain to be okay. But now that I'm not in that place anymore, I'm up here. I don't need to be living in these limiting beliefs down here anymore. And so going back and figuring out what that lesson was and why I was thinking those things and living the way I was, and then just like releasing it, I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm up here. Sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the breakthrough sessions, I typically start with saying that we deal with 4 areas of life, that being career/finance, health and vitality, spirituality and personal development, or relationships. And with relationships, that can be your familiar relationships, the people you grew up with, that can be friendships, it can be relationships with your clients, with your partner, whoever. They're all pretty broad categories. And then what typically happens is that we end up kind of chunking down in the session and it being a little more specific as to what specifically we're working on inside of that umbrella. And we did Katie's on relationships, which is probably the most common category that I do breakthroughs on.
I wanted to do like the money and finance category. And then you said that whatever, when we pick the root cause, I was like, all right, well, I got the relationships because I know it's going to come back to that anyways.
Yeah. So I always say pick whichever category is going to have the biggest trickle down effect. So wherever you have the most stuck emotion and limiting belief is where you should start. And I call limiting beliefs limiting decisions because we're working on when did you decide this was true? When did you have enough evidence that this thought became a belief, became a fact. And so we're working on the stuck emotions and that those limiting decisions. And in what area of life do you have the most of those? Because that's going to have the biggest trickle down effect into other areas of your life. And I love that we worked on relationships and just how much of an impact that's had on the career and finance side.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I want to go through and just read a little bit of the limiting decisions that Katie gave me. And this session was done June 21st, and today is July 26th.
Was it really the 21st?
It's been just over a month.
Jeez.
So I love that this is a month later that she
Yep.
gave me these thoughts.
It's like a different person.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. Okay, so I'll kind of start at the top. One of the ones you gave me is I'm a bad communicator.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that thought today?
I always used to think I was a poor communicator. And that one, I'm not really sure where it came from, but I was like, so?
Is that still true to you?
No. I feel like I'm really quite well at communicating these days. Quite good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Words.
Yeah. And I think it's important to realize that we don't have to know exactly where the belief came from in order to release it and no longer believe it and let it control our lives.
Yeah, I no longer think in my head or tell myself the words that I'm a poor communicator. It's like I am learning better on how to communicate better and better every day.
Yeah. Another one is I have to be the peacekeeper.
We talked a lot about where that one came from.
We know where this one came from.
We know exactly where that one came from. But it is not my role in life to make sure I'm keeping the peace between everyone. Like that's not my job. It's not my role. It's not who I am. It's an important
Absolutely.
thing to like keep peace, but it's not my sole purpose to be the peacekeeper of the realms of all. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to point out here that a lot of these beliefs, a lot of the stuck emotions, the guilt, the shame, the anger, that a lot of this comes from being a woman, growing up in a patriarchal society in general, but then also even more particularly to your story, in a highly patriarchal community and household.
yep.
And how do you feel like that affected you and have released that to move forward today?
So it's like I've just always put myself in a role of, okay, my job as a woman is to get married, have children, and be a mom. That is my purpose in life. Find a husband, get married, and have children, and be a mother. And it's like, that's what I've been doing. And I love being a mother. I'm not gonna like nothing against. I love, 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 love my daughter. I love being a mother. It is so fulfilling, but that's not like my core identity anymore. I used to just identify myself for the last 3.5 years as, hi, I'm Caitlin and I'm a mom. End of story. Not anymore. Like, hi, I'm Caitlin. I have a life. I have a career. I provide value to the marketplace. And I am also a mother as well. And like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
just,
funny that you say that.
yeah.
A girlfriend of mine that I haven't spoken to in a while reached out to me yesterday. And it was kind of a little bit of catching up. And one of the things she said to me was, well, my husband is doing this, and I'm just a mom
Mhm.
working also part-time as a social worker. And I was like, just nothing, ma'am. Like, you're a badass part-time working mom raising amazing children. Just nothing.
Yep.
No just there.
Mhm. It's like
Uh,
a cultural thing going on where it's like if you're a mom, that is your duty in life. You can no longer do or be anything else because you have to dedicate your entire being to being a mother. And it's like just like when you're on an airplane and the masks fall down, put your own mask first before you help somebody else. Like you
yeah,
have to take care of yourself and make sure that you are okay before you can start taking care of others.
yeah.
So
And like, is there anything else in life that we refer to as just?
yeah,
Like, I just raise children all day.
no big deal. No big deal. I keep little
Like,
tiny humans alive all day long.
yeah, like I don't feel
Stay at
like
home
you never hear anybody go, "I'm just a doctor. I'm just a
mom
CEO."
and you don't have a career, like that is okay. You are keeping tiny humans alive.
Mhm.
Like, good job. Just
Yeah,
gonna say that because tiny humans are hard to keep alive sometimes.
yes, they are. True story. Um, let's see some of your other beliefs.
Hmm.
Um,
Mind.
I can't speak my truth.
I think that's what we're doing right now, girl.
Now, a month and a week ago, would you have been able to do this call?
Heck no. Nope, nope, nope. I would have been like an anxiety disaster. It's like, what do I wear? How does my hair look? Is this gonna be okay? What if what are people gonna think of me if I'm on here on Facebook telling people about my past and my issues and all these things? Like, I can't do that. That was old me. Now it's like, here we are. Hi, Keeley.
How do you feel about it now?
I think the word of the day today is empowered.
I love it.
That's how I'm feeling today.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's see. I can't make more money than my husband.
This is a fun one.
This is my favorite.
I had a lot, I think of a lot of self-sabotage behind that one.
Yeah.
Going back to like the patriarchal thing, my job is to be a wife, his job is to be the provider, and that's like our jobs in life for forever. And so I was like, I don't know if it was a lot of self-sabotage or self like lack of confidence or limiting beliefs or whatever it was. I've been working on trying to further my financial contribution to our household
Mhm.
for years.
Yeah.
I was like either making nothing or like pathetic amounts of money that was like not worth doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then literally, so what day was our thing on? What was the date? It was
The
Monday.
21st.
That was a Monday.
Okay.
Tuesday, somebody outreached to me for a job offer. I was like, that doesn't sound like me. Wednesday, I had two. Thursday, so that was one, two. Thursday, I had one. And then Friday, I had another two. And I took one of the ones on Friday and I made money that following Saturday. Like I like started the next day, Saturday, and then I got a paycheck the next on Sunday, and then I've been getting a paycheck every Sunday since then, and I am making way more money than him right now. Went shopping, I bought some new clothes, and he's loving it.
This is my favorite thing is we worked on relationships
Yes.
and this belief that it would be detrimental to your relationship if you were to make more money than him.
Yeah.
Now, you had applied for these jobs months prior.
Months ago. I've been searching for months, like almost a
And
year.
then we released this belief that you can't make more money than him. And within a week, was it 1 week?
Less than Monday.
5 job
was when
offers?
we did and then on Friday I took the job. Sunday I made more money.
That's incredible.
It was insane.
And like,
Still, right now, I'm still getting like job offers coming to me right now.
yeah.
I'm working towards this. It's like all of the old work I had done building up to that is like coming together. Everything is just like falling into piece perfectly.
Yeah.
And On like Friday, I got called. They're like, "Hey, can we have you on an interview?" I was like, "I'm not. I'm working. My calendar is full, by the way."
Yeah. And I love that, like, this is what we talk about when we say that like manifestation can be an energetic shift, is you have to still take the aligned action and you have to know that you're worthy of it.
Mhm.
And so it was like we released all of this negative crap that was holding you back and keeping you stuck.
Mhm.
And then you instantly, this months and months of work just pours over you.
Oh yeah. And if it
And you're
had happened,
instantly making all of this money that didn't seem possible the week before.
it didn't. And if it had happened the week before, if I'd gotten those job opportunities, I wouldn't have pursued them.
Yeah.
I would have been thinking, "Oh, I'm not good enough to do that. I'm not ready. I need to do more training. I need to do more reading. Like I can't. I'm not capable of doing that." I would have totally held myself back because I would have been too like self-conscious or whatever about those jobs. And like they came, and I was like, "Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Yeah.
Tomorrow? Okay, I can start tomorrow. Sure. Like let's do that."
Yeah. And it's like, I do also want to point out here that like we've talked a bit about how a lot of these beliefs came from this patriarchal
Mhm.
society, and that patriarchy hurts men too. And because your husband has probably felt like he had to be this provider,
Mhm. A
and
lot of
it
financial
can
pressure.
lead to a lot of shame in men as well, that we
Mhm.
put that level of pressure on them.
Yeah.
And so I love that through you doing this session, it has not only shifted your life, but also your husband's and your relationship. And how
Oh,
has he felt about you making more money than him?
he's looking at a new car for himself. We're this is awesome.
I love it so much.
I know. It's been fun. It's been fun. We're
I
like
love
gonna
that you like thought he was going to have a problem with it,
yeah.
and he's loved
I was
it.
terrified of like hurting like his ego or was like it was his job, not my job. But
Yeah.
he's all about it. We're planning trips. He's looking at cars. We're yeah.
Yeah.
We're not worried about paying our bills right now. It's fun.
I love it so much.
That one's been a really fun shift.
Yeah. So I want to go right into one that ties right in here, is you had a belief that I am a subpar wife. How do
Yeah.
you feel about your wifing abilities?
I feel like I'm a pretty cool wife. Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of those because it's just like you always look around, especially with social media, and you see everyone else doing all these things and like wives are doing all the stuff and all the stuff and things that everybody else is doing that you're like, "Oh, I'm not doing that. That must mean I'm not as good of a wife as other people could have been or
Yeah.
other people are doing better." And it's like, I'm doing me. He's doing him, I'm doing me.
Mhm.
So,
And one of the limiting beliefs I hear a lot from people when we talk about doing a breakthrough session is they hear that it's 4 to 6 hours and they go, oh my God, that sounds horrible. I don't want to feel all this emotion for 5 hours. Like, wouldn't that be exhausting? So I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
yeah. So I think we were what, 6 hours?
We went 6, yeah.
6 hours? And oh, we probably trudging through the real deep nitty-gritty stuff for probably an hour, maybe,
Mhm.
right? So we had a lot of build up, a lot of backstory discussion, and then we pulled really deep for a little while. Get all the
Yeah.
bad, negative things out.
Mhm.
Then he pulled me right back out of it, and I walked out of the room at the end of the day, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go buy myself a new leather jacket. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. I'm gonna go get a steak. Amazing.
My favorite part of well, I don't know that I can pick a favorite, but like
Oh,
with your session was that I feel like I told Christine that I almost wish I had taken a before and after picture of
we
you.
should have. We should have done like a screenshot of me like
Yeah,
in tears
because
or in the bedroom crying.
you started the session with I mean, it was very much this kind of body language of like kind of protected, and you were nervous and already a little upset because you knew what we were going to be diving into. And then by the end of it, you were like this, and you were like, I'm awesome. I'm not sure what I was talking about.
I wrote down on my notebook that day, I was like, I didn't take very many notes because that was your job. And I just like at the end, I wrote down, I was like, I am delightful.
Yeah.
I had it open right there for like the next 2 weeks. I was like, I am delightful.
Yeah. Next to, so like with some of the limiting decisions, when we released them, I wrote down some of the learnings.
Mhm.
One of my favorite learnings on here just says, BS, I'm awesome.
And just for a side note, I haven't seen your list. I haven't looked at
Oh, I
your
know.
notes.
Yeah.
No.
My clients don't get to see my notes because I don't ever want anyone to associate back into the negative stuff. And I did clear with Katie before this call to make sure that she was in the right mind space to not associate back into the negative garbage that we released. So the mind trash, as we've been calling it.
The trash out. It's
Yeah,
gone.
we took the mind trash out and we don't want it back. It's gone.
It's gone.
Oh my goodness, there's so many good ones. You had one on here that says, I'm a disappointment to others.
That's a sad thought.
How do you feel about that today?
I don't know where that came from, but I don't know. If I am a disappointment to you, I'm sorry.
You were definitely not a disappointment to me.
Oh, thanks. I love you.
But like, and that's kind of my favorite part is when I read someone something they said to me, like these are your words,
Mhm.
and they're just like, I said that? I don't even remember saying that. Because it
I
feels
don't
so
remember.
far removed.
I don't remember saying those words, but I can remember like the emotion that
Yeah.
happens when you're going through this. I remember it and I look back at it, but it was like I'm looking at it like somebody else had done it.
Yeah.
Like I don't totally relate to that anymore at all.
Yeah.
I
And
can look at it and it's like, oh, yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty low thought.
And I'd love to talk a little bit about that. We also released a whole bunch of stuck emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like, again, there's this kind of misconception when I talk about releasing emotion, of like what that means. And my perspective of this, and I'd love to hear yours, is that my daughter is like screaming from the next room. She's fine. Is that you it's like you can look at the situation with a different perspective because there isn't that same emotion in it. And so for you, we released anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, shame, frustration, disappointment, and anxious.
We might need to
And
do a
how
little.
do you feel like those emotions feel differently to you now?
It's like a clean slate. It's like I had all these emotions. A lot of them were connected. Like I felt shame about my anger and so on. Like I had a lot of the connected, interweaved, dark emotions, and we kind of were able to just kind of like it was like a whiteboard, and we just kind of wiped them off one at a time. Wiped it off, wiped it off, and so it's like I just got a clean slate again. So it's, I still feel those emotions, but when I do feel angry or something, it's not as deep
Yeah.
because I'm not pulling all of the old anger and shame and hate and fear and guilt that I used to have. It's not like anymore.
Exactly right.
It's like reading a book of my past. It's like, oh, okay, well that happened, but I'm not using that emotion anymore. The emotion isn't there anymore. And so now if I'm angry about something, it's not nearly as powerful as or as draining on my energy as it used to be. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm angry right now, and I'm gonna feel angry for a little while. And then when that passes, it's oh, I'm cool, that's great. And I can come back up here again because it's not dragging my entire being back into this deep hole of I'm like melting. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I talk about it as like it's a string of pearls, and each time you felt anger is on this string, and they build on each other and they pull off each other. And in these sessions, we're able to cut the string and let all of that fall off.
Yeah.
And it is possible to build a new string if you're not consistently doing this work to keep clearing past emotion. And that's why I call it stuck emotion, is because I don't believe there's any inherent negative emotion or bad emotion. It's that we're intended to feel our emotions, take a lesson from it, and let it go. But what ends up happening in our society is we hold on to it and we keep it there forever.
For
Yep.
Here's the big thing for me was when I was like a teenager.
Mhm.
I was 16 when these things like when a lot of the ones we were focusing on were really established in
Yeah.
my like chain of beads or whatever. And I was like, so anytime I was getting angry, anytime I felt shame, anytime I was fearful, I was pulling on the emotions that were triggered from when I was a teenager
Yeah.
and all of the fear, guilt, hate, shame, whatever that happened throughout that stage of my life. I was pulling from that same source of
Yeah.
emotion. And so now it's like a clean slate. It's like, oh, I'm upset about this one little thing. Okay, I'll be upset for a few minutes, but then I'm fine. It's like,
Yeah.
whereas before, one little thing, I would be a disaster because there was so much emotion going into it that didn't really apply to the scenario.
Yeah.
And so now it's just like, okay, that it's a lot of it's like taking off a huge weight. An emotional weight is gone.
Absolutely. And it's funny because for me, when I was learning all of these techniques, we practiced them on each other. And one of my limiting beliefs when we learned that technique was I can't be successful. And consciously, I was like, I feel like I probably decided this when I was 17, 18, and first tried to like run my own business. And I decided that then, like the first time I failed in business. And then we did further into the technique, and I realized it was like at age 4 that I had done something wrong in dance class, and my dance teacher had gotten mad at me. And I decided right then I just wasn't as good as everybody else and I wouldn't be successful. And I carried that from age 4 on. And like, how much did that affect in me and affect my possibilities? And being able to use these techniques that we use in breakthrough sessions to release it was just immensely powerful. And
Yeah.
that's been my experience with every breakthrough session that I've done, is by the end of it, it's like this renewed energy.
Oh yeah.
Like just this giant weight has been lifted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like I walked out of the room afterwards for like the next still even. It's just like
Yeah.
I'm at a different place energetically and emotionally, and I've been able to just kind of carry it through. And even if I do, like I was saying, if I do have more of a negative or whatever emotions that bring my energy down, it's so much easier
Yeah.
to get back up again and shake it off and keep on moving. Because
Yeah.
there's just so much, there's less weight holding on to those emotions.
Absolutely. All right. So as we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to say to
Mm,
our community, to our group, to, I didn't
yes.
prepare you for this question.
No, you didn't. It's like, let's see. Um, if you are afraid of doing a breakthrough session, that's probably a sign you need one.
Mm,
Like, because it was like, it seems for me, it seemed like a really intimidating thing. Like I
yeah.
was intimidated by it. And I knew that I could trust you to take me through the process. And I'm so glad I did. Because I love you. And it's like, it has literally been life changing.
Yeah.
That 6-hour day with you has trickled into so many areas of my life. Aside
Yeah.
from the money and finance thing starting to work out and be awesome, my relationship with my husband is better. My relationship with my mom has improved a ton, which was like totally not a focus of our day. And then like my relationship with my dad is greater. My personal spiritual well-being is better.
Yeah.
My physical health is doing pretty dang good. I mean, I hiked the mountain yesterday. It was fabulous. It's just like, yeah, so if there's something that you've been thinking about and you want to learn more about, if you're ready to do one yet, like, it's okay, but learn
Yeah.
about it, research it, talk to the team, talk to Keeley, talk to Karen, myself, Christine, and
Absolutely.
see if this is something that you want to do.
Yeah. If this is something that you've been thinking about that you want to do, drop info in the comments and one of us will reach out to you. Katie, thank you so much for taking this time today. I just adore you, as you know.
Love you too.
Half the time we talk, it's just us like, I love you so much.
You're amazing.
You wouldn't believe that we'd only known each other for a couple months. So, if you guys have any questions, thoughts, comments, leave them in the comments, reach out to our team. I adore you all, and we will see you soon.